Hello and welcome to another episode of Speak Up. I am so glad you decided to join us, coming straight to you from Televida. We are ready to talk today to a very special guest, a friend of mine who is doing great things, phenomenal things in our community. Today I have with me William Wells of A-Steam Village. Now, we do know that in our community, one of the things that we felt that we were lacking in was the science, technology, engineering, architect, and mathematics. And this man got the great idea that I'm going to change things in my community. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my friend and to the community's next great thing, Mr. William Wells.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, William.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. You know, you and I have had a lot of conversations. I remember meeting you, we won't talk about how many years ago, it's been a long time. And at that time, you were just starting to develop that. Tell us a little bit about why A-Steam Village?
Well, that's a good question. I realized when we started our robotics team at Benjamin Banneker, it's now closed of course, but when we started our robotics team, that our young people were not being exposed to the learning, the tools, the resources that they needed to participate in the knowledge and information-based economies of today and tomorrow. And so I said, well, somebody has to do it, why not us? And with the cohort of 17 kids, we started a robotics program. They're in college or in the military now, and so that happened in 2011. So here we are in 2022, going strong.
Wow! So we're talking 11 years ago. You actually launched A-Steam Village, and you actually launched it. Did you launch it on 18th Street?
Well, kind of. The second launch, right? We're kind of like a rocket. You know, a rocket separates.
Yeah.
So we started as Benjamin Banneker Charter Academy. Then Chester Thompson, who is now our board chair, was then the president of the Black Economic Union, and he gave us 1,000 square feet because they just ran out of room for us at the school that we were at. And so we did start in the community center, and we were there for 4 years. We transitioned to being a weekend program, so the students would come to us on Friday evenings after school from 6 to 9 and Saturdays from 1 to 5. And now we're in a 20,000 square foot facility on the St. Monica's campus, St. Monica's Catholic Church campus. So. Yeah,
I've been over there. So we're going to go through a timeline. I go back to, you made this statement, I love Chester Thompson. So shout out to Chester for being a great community leader and a great advocate of our community. The idea that you went to Chester and said, hey, we're busting out of the seams, I need a space. And he said, I have a space for you.
Yeah, it was Chester and Carol Heron. I don't know if you
remember. I know Carol, yes.
Carol told Chester, this program is worthy of you giving them an opportunity, and they did. And so we went from a zero budget in 2014 when we went to the Lincoln Building to where now we've got a budget of $750,000. Wow. And we did it without taking out any loans.
Wow, wow. So again, I'm going to go back to, this is how ecosystems are built. The ideal was birth. You had to find somewhere, and you had no money, but we had the kids, we had the interest, and then we found a community leader that had the resources that said, I'm going to give you these resources so that you can build this. And you did not let him down.
Did not let him down, to the point that when he retired from the Black Economic Union, we brought him in and we got him working, if not harder, just as hard in retirement as our board chair and ally on our broadband initiative. That's absolutely correct.
Well, you know, and for me, I guess I remember when I had an office in the Lincoln Building when I first met you through BEU.
Right.
And you were bringing these children in, and I thought, this has got to be phenomenal, but how is he going to make it with no money? We know that our children need that. And what this has done also, it shined a light on that our kids can learn, and our kids are interested in the STEMs, and they just have to be exposed.
Yeah, I don't know I would like to say it shined a light on the talented that never get the light shined on them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so we have a lot of talented young people in our community that don't get to see engineers. I have one of my mentors is the founder, one of the co-founders actually, of the National Society of Black Engineers, and he put a post on LinkedIn that said that when I walked into the second grade classroom, none of the students wanted to be an engineer. None of them knew what an engineer was. But then when he started talking to them about what engineers invent, the inventors, people don't look at engineers as inventors.
Right.
But when they heard all of the things and the people that looked like them that invented so much stuff, when he left and asked the same question, 90% of the hands went up. They wanted to be an engineer.
Wow. That's deep. That's
Yeah.
really, really deep. And you know, for our community and for our children, it didn't just stop with the robotics. You took this to the next level. And I remember when you first reached out to me to become a part of the team, I was so overjoyed and excited. But you know, I'm cool, so you know I have to keep my cool and keep my composure. But you know that you and I have had conversation and how important it is for me that this being a part of our ecosystem, the growth of our ecosystem, the need for us to have engineers, architects, mathematicians, and definitely scientists. Our world and the world of technology is just growing and you know, just bursting at the seams. And if we're not exposing, because that's what this is, it's exposure. It's not anything that special. I'm gonna expose you to this and let your talents take over.
Well, yeah, it's exposure, but I think it's more informing.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So all of us are engineers because what's the definition of an engineer? People will say civil, mechanical, electrical. I say no, an engineer solves problems to make the world a better place or to make people's lives better. And so when you think about that, I tell the kids all the time, there are only two types of people on this planet, happy people and unhappy people. The happy people are the ones that, because problems are going to happen to both, right?
Yeah, yes.
The happy people say a problem is an opportunity for you to grow, for you to learn, for you to produce a solution. The unhappy people, they don't approach a problem like that. They'll talk about the problem, complain about the problem, talk about it some more, complain about it some more, and then reach into their pocket to pay the happy person for their solution to that problem if they want that problem to go away.
Right.
So I like to think of, you know, I like to break it into simple buckets, producers and consumers. Producers are engineers. They look at problems as an opportunity to provide a solution to solve a problem that they can usually benefit from financially or just feeling good because I helped save somebody's life or help make somebody's life better.
So tell me about how you grew this organically. I mean, because you got to have instructors and I'm sure you know now you have paid instructors. How many kids do you have right now in your program? Let's start. Go back to that.
Let's start right now.
Yeah.
Right this summer, we actually will be engaging 320 students in STEM this summer over the next 8 weeks. So
in 11 years, you went from 17 to 320. Okay.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. But what helped us to do that is our allegiance and our partnership with the National Society of Black Engineers, NSBE. So let me break this down. We at Esteem Village worked with Kansas City, Kansas public schools to allow NSBE to bring to several of their summer schools the Summer Engineering Experience for Kids, which was a brainchild of another one of my mentors and former NSBE Executive Director, Dr. Carl Mack. Okay. So for 3 weeks, these students are going to learn programming, robotics, computer coding. NSBE is not only sending in kits into the schools to these students, but they're also sending in Amazon Fire tablets to each one of these 224 in the KCKPS schools. And those students are going to learn from college students from across the country that are at universities pursuing engineering and STEM degrees. Some are scientists, some are mathematicians, some are pursuing engineering.
Wow, wow, wow. So that's, I mean, I heard a lot in that.
Yeah.
I heard, you know, the opportunity to learn, to be connected to major corporations, to have introductory to universities and colleges. This thing is like touching and exposing our students to a whole new world.
Well, yeah.
So tell me, what's your background?
My background is telecommunications engineering, which is a perfect segue into our project that we're doing with our Red Tail students, which are middle school, high school students, where we are working with the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and Councilwoman Robinson to deploy a broadband network, a community-led, a community-owned broadband network in the 3rd Congressional District as a pilot, not only for the rest of the, Council District, I'm sorry, not only for the rest of the council districts, but also for urban America, rural America, and many other cities. What we're showing is, we know that the Jazz District, we know the 3rd Council District as far as median household income and median home value and healthcare index are low. And what we're doing is saying, okay, we know that there's already an entertainment economy. We already know that there's a service economy, which is a lower wage.
Right.
What we're going to do is we're going to bring these young people into the economy, and we're going to create a digital economy, which are higher wages, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to focus on education, healthcare, business creation, and workforce development in a IT and computer space, computer science space. And if we do that, and while we do that, we will go into smart community, right? So you've heard Kansas City, and they've won awards, and they said that we're a smart city, or we won a smart award. Well, we don't think that a smart city is just putting a kiosk on a bus line or a streetcar.
Right.
We feel that a smart city is actually made up of a bunch of smart communities, and smart communities are interconnected. You know, if you make a, green building, you're talking Internet of Things, that's security, that's communication. So what we're doing with these young people, and it's like, it's mind-blowing, is we bypass AT&T, Spectrum, and Google Fiber. We have fiber into our building, which if you put our address in all of those other providers, they say we can't get it there. And we are strategically building out and partnering with these same organizations. We partner with AT&T to reach some off-net locations like our dear friend Myron McCants KD Academy. We are actually partnering and delivering high-speed broadband, but the young people are actually pulling the cable, they're building the cable. And it's not just about speed and devices. We're going into these old homes, and these young people are rewiring these homes so that they can be smart homes. And when you do that, now you can reduce energy costs, you can increase security, you can increase your communications. You can even do what this gentleman is doing in this wonderful facility, and that's produce your own content. And the world is then your
oyster.
Exactly. I didn't want to go there, but it's really true.
So, you talk about the Red Tail. I had the pleasure of working with the Red Tail on a project with UMKC and a STEM village and a STEAM village now, because it was STEM, but it's STEAM. And they were phenomenal. And I mean, so very detailed, meticulous. They did a lot of our scribing. They were great scribes for our meetings, and then getting our reports out. They were amazing. So where did you find these Red Tails?
They are actually students that have been in our program. Some of them came to us in the 3rd grade, 5th grade. Their parents believed in the program, kept them in the program. And I was like, okay, you've been doing robotics, you've been doing race car engineering, you've been winning these awards. The awards collect dust. What we need to do is get them into the economy, and we need to take advantage of this level playing field that a knowledge and information-based economy has provided us. And so, they did a rendering of the 3rd District,
Yes.
right? They took SketchUp and did a rendering of 3rd District. We presented them with a challenge. Everybody, how do you bring and connect the streetcar on Main to the east side?
Right.
And everybody, all of the adults were thinking 18th Street, they were thinking Linwood, and when they came back after a month and a half of working on their own, these are kids working on their own with a couple of college kids, when they came back and they made their presentation, I think we all were blown away when they decided that the best way to connect the streetcar to the east is to go down Truman Road.
Yeah.
And we were like, we didn't think of that.
At Truman Road was
and guess what now? And guess what now? It's the big talk. The Bi-State Initiative is going down Truman Road.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and it makes more sense because Truman Road had the most space.
Had the most space and not as traveled as all the others, and it's right next to the
and
highway.
I remember they were talking about 18th Street, and since now they've got the bike trails down 18th Street, I said this is going to be interesting if we run a streetcar down here. Where are we going to put the bikes and the cars and the streetcar?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really interesting. So I wanted to dive more into some of your initiatives now, some of the ways that you are continuing to grow. What are some of your future plans? What's some of your vision for where are we going now?
We got a lot going on. So for me, the broadband piece that these young people are doing, that's like the highway, right?
Yeah.
So you can imagine America without any highway system, and they built the highway system so that our military could fight from sea to shiny sea.
Right.
Fortunately, we haven't had to fight any battles on our land, so we use it for commerce, we use it for travel, so we can go visit our families and friends. So this network that we're building out is the highway. Now, what comes on top of that highway, that's where it's going to be really interesting. And I think the next project that's coming out is STEM City, Kansas City. We're already in STEM City, USA, from Career Communication Group's Tyrone Taborn. Dave Stewart from Worldwide Technologies is one of the co-founders, and live content, archive content, movies. We have a room there where we have a lot of art programming and classes happening. It connects to our virtual academy. And there's a HBCU college fair in there that's got all of the 15 accredited HBCU engineering. It's open 24/7, 365. So the STEM City, Kansas City piece is going to basically be our gateway to the STEM City, Kansas City metaverse. And that's going to be just like off the chart. We're going to merge business and education in a digital space. We're going to merge the real world and the digital world.
So I'm going to throw a shameless plug out here because I live, work, and play in the 5th District. And so I love Melissa to death, and I'm always teasing. My thing is, why is it always 3rd District, 3rd District, 3rd District? When is the 5th District? Where are we in the plan?
You're actually in the plan right away. We just met with Councilwoman Shaw. And when we had the meeting with the NSBE CEO and the Director of Public Works, Michael Shaw, we're already looking at the 5th District. That's absolutely that's like the next place. And
honestly, so I work a lot with the 3rd and the 5th District, being that as the Heartland Black Chamber of Commerce, part of our job is to make sure that the East Side is not forgotten. And one of the things that I have been working on is getting us in the mindset that we have to also invest ourselves. A lot of times we are waiting on investment to come in, but if we're not investing in the programs ourselves, you're going to be limited to the amount of funding that you're going to get. You're only going to get sometimes what's left over from what everybody else is getting because of their investment. So
or lack thereof.
Right?
Yes. So because I mean we've been there. I mean literally from 2011 until maybe 2 years ago, nobody was listening to us.
Right.
They would always say, "Oh, that's a great program," but beyond the pat on the back and the attaboy, there was no like, we want to help you to scale it.
Yeah.
The new administration, the new city manager, they saw our real work. That's why if you follow us on social media, you'll see documentation. I tell the kids all the time, and they'll tell you, documentation beats conversation.
All day long.
And so
All day.
they saw the real work, and they they believed in us that we could actually not only provide a solution to close the digital divide, to help them to bring talent into what their administration is wanting to do, which is digitally transform the way they govern, be able to become a 21st century government agency that can reach more citizens. They believed not only that we would do it, but they knew that we were authentic about what we were doing. We were not going to absorb ourselves with administrative fees and fancy parties and new signs and
right.
We weren't going to do that. We were going to pour the resources and do what we said we were going to do, and we were going to develop the talent, and we were going to scale it. We're talking to them now about having the Red Tails work on the open data model for the city. Again, documentation beats conversation. When you joined us on the VCAP exercise that we did in the community, that was all about data-driven decision making.
Yeah.
Sit down with the community. Community tells us, okay, what do you want? What do you see?
Yeah.
What would you like to see? You remember we broke them into 4 groups and asked them the same questions. We broke them into families, we broke them into developers, we broke them into a group of business owners, and then senior citizens, right?
Yeah.
Because if you asked all 4 of those groups the same question and they're all in the same room, it would descend into chaos because they're all looking at those questions through different lenses. A developer is looking at it from how can I make money. A senior citizen is how can I stay connected and live a quality of life.
Yeah.
A resident or a student is like, how can I become successful, right? A business owner is like, how can I make money so my business can be successful? But and you saw this, by us breaking them into groups, we found the commonalities.
Yeah.
And then and that was the point of departure for the conversation of then the students going back and saying, okay, this is what they would like to see. And this is, and then they came back with several different proposals. And it's really funny. If you go back, because we have on our Venmo page all of those renderings and all of those proposals that they made, it's funny to see that a lot of those businesses are popping up.
Wow.
So the key is, but they don't own them. They're not a part of the bill. And that was the whole part of the exercise, is that the community needs to be a part of the planning.
Yes.
They need to be a part of the design. They need to be a part of the build. And then they need to be a part of the sustainability of the project. And if you do that, then you're bringing everybody into the economy. Now you're talking shared prosperity. Now you're talking about seeing median household incomes go up. You're seeing median home values go up. And you're seeing crime rates go up.
Wow, absolutely.
And you're seeing healthcare index go up. It's not a big ask. It's not rocket science. But it is a different approach, because it's an approach that says, you know what, everybody deserves an opportunity to participate in the economy. And one of the beautiful things about us, and you've heard me say this over and over, we're not a school.
Right.
So we don't give A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's.
Right.
We give you an F. We teach you how to apply the engineering design process and the scientific method to that F and turn it into a D, that D into a C, that C into a B, and that B into an A. Some kids get it right away. Some kids may not get it for 2 years, 3 years, but we have the patience to and provide the space.
I'm going to segue into something else. So, you, we talked about when you started and coming out of the KCK schools, or providing for the KCK schools. Where is what you're doing here on the Missouri side how is KCK going to fit in this? Because this is a metropolitan city, and I can tell you that this opportunity is what you're doing here can expand and grow beyond just here.
Yeah, we're aware of that, and we anticipate that. We're working hard to make sure that we can replicate the successes that we're having in Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. We are in conversations with the mayor's office, with you, with Lavert Murray, the chief of staff, to make that happen, because truth be told, you know this, a lot of the students in KCK are actually working with us on these projects in KCMO.
Yes.
And the same opportunity in KCK is there, and there are a lot more students. So it's important for us to be able to get this into the Black and brown communities and let our young people, let their brilliance shine, let them participate. We work with Guadalupe Centers High School, and it's like they give us these kids that they don't believe in, and those kids are like amazing, and they have the respect. There's a young man, Tito, he's a professional goalie for St. Louis soccer team. And Tito did not care about no robotics. He did not care about no computer science. And Tito said at the end of the year, I was like, Tito, I feel you. Just, do a little work, and we'll get through the year. At the end of the year, he came up to me. He said, I'm graduating tomorrow, but I want to tell you, Mr. Economist. I said, thank you. And I said, for what? He said, you didn't give up on me.
Yeah.
You didn't believe me. I mean, you didn't give up on me, you didn't quit on me, and you believed in me, and you always pushed me.
Yeah.
And true enough, I got a Facebook friend request one time, and it was him. Yeah. He's like, playing professional soccer as a goalie. That's what he said he wanted to do.
Yeah. But it's applied science too.
Yeah.
It's applied science discipline.
Yeah.
It's the discipline in it. So, we're getting ready to kind of wind down, but it was important for us to have you on the show. One, because this has to be supported. You are doing a lot of work. We need the support of foundations and philanthropists. If somebody wanted to support you, I want you to tell them exactly who they need to contact, how they can contact you, and what's coming up next that they can support right away.
Okay, well, it's a couple of things. So you can contact us at our website, which is ASTEAM Village, ASTEAM Village.org. What's coming up is we have our annual gala on September 14th. Our keynote speaker is NSBE CEO and recent President Biden appointee to the HBCU Advisory, Janine Uzel. Our entertainment is saxophonist Jeanette Harris Band. We're a stop on her saxophone tour, so that's pretty amazing. Yeah. But the real thing to rally around is in March of 2023, the National Society of Black Engineers is holding their 49th annual convention here in Kansas City, Missouri. Now, they'll be bringing 17,000 professional engineers, college students, and K-12 students. The NSBE might have $25 million economic stimulus, which we're all looking forward to working with you to make sure that some of that spend, a lot of that spend, most of that spend gets into Black and brown communities on both the Kansas and the Missouri side. And you're going to have Fortune 1, Fortune 500 companies here recruiting many college students from all across the country, giving them jobs, co-ops, internships. And if you are a graduating senior in 2023 or a junior, you want to be there for the career fair, because there's millions of dollars of scholarship dollars that those Fortune 1, Fortune 500 companies put into the students through NSBE. The problem is a lot of counselors don't make NSBE known to the students. I was just talking to one of our camp leads in the summer camp today. Super sharp kid. On the Lincoln College Prep robotics team. Built his own computer. Had never heard of NSBE.
Wow.
Never heard of NSBE. Wow. And I was like, you see that young man right there? That's him now. That was him when he joined us in the 5th grade. He graduated from the same school you're going to now. But he left Kansas City with $30,000 in scholarship money. And he's now a junior at Arizona State pursuing automotive engineering.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, you know, we're getting ready to wrap up, but I definitely want to thank William for coming. I appreciate you. You know, we're going to talk more about this throughout the year. This is definitely, I hope this isn't the last time you come on the show. I want everybody to know how important it is that we support our children, especially in those sciences, the science, technology, engineering, architect, and mathematics. It is so, so important. It's going to change the way our ecosystem is. It will build in all areas. We want to thank Televida for always allowing us to bring you the best of the best and allowing us to speak up without any holdback, no pushback. We thank you, Televida, and we are looking forward to you joining us next week as we bring you something new and something exciting. Thank you again, and have a great day.